guys, it's Alice, and because we are inching closer and closer to Christmas, it's time for this year's book gift guide. As always, I have got books in 3 different categories, and the first one is books most people would enjoy, which is pretty self-explanatory. And first up, we have got Where the Crawdads Sing by Delia Owens. This is a historical fiction novel set in the 50s and 60s in North Carolina by the coast, and we follow this young girl who lives in the marsh all by herself, and she is infamous in the closest town as this wild and feral person just living out there all by herself. And we follow her throughout her entire childhood up until the point where a man is murdered in the town and people think that she had something to do with it. This is one of my favorite books that I've read this year, and I really do think most people would enjoy it, especially if they like historical fiction. Secondly, we have got The Lost Man by Jane Harper. This is a mystery novel set in the Australian outback, where one of 3 brothers seem to have committed suicide, although maybe not. This is a fantastic read, really exciting with great characters, and the atmosphere is so good. Then we have got Mythos by Stephen Fry. Now this is a very popular book, so a lot of people have probably read it, but if they haven't, they really should. It's nonfiction, but it doesn't really read like nonfiction, and in it, Stephen Fry retells the Greek myths, and it's just so much fun. If you're gonna give this to someone, give them a heads up that they should read the footnotes in this, because they're like half of what makes this book special. Next, I have picked out Sweet Bean Paste by Durian Sukagawa. I was wondering if maybe this should go in the second category, but I do think this is a very sweet story and a lot of people would like it. It's set in Japan, and we follow this man who is kind of down in life, and he spends his days in this little shop making dorayaki, but then one day this old woman comes into the shop and this changes his life. It's kind of a quiet and unassuming story, but very sweet and a little sad, and it is translated, and I do feel like a lot of people don't read a lot of translated books, so it's fun to try some. Lastly, in this category, we have got The Little Snake by A.L. Kennedy. I feel like this could almost be like a stocking filler as well because it's so small, and I feel like this is the perfect book to give to someone who maybe doesn't read a lot or doesn't like long books. The story is kind of like a fairy tale about this young girl who meets a golden magical snake in her garden, and they become best friends, which sounds kind of odd, but it's very sweet and wonderful, and I think everyone would like it. The second category is books for your weird friends, because we all have those, and I think we've probably established that I'm that friend. And first up here, we have got Salt Slow by Julia Armfield. This is a short story collection, and all the stories in here have something weird going on in them, like women who become insects. We've got a city filled with insomniacs, like no one really sleeps there. And we also have the story where people are being picked apart to make better people. It sounds real weird, but it's also really good. And I also feel like this edition is really giftable because it's so pretty. Second, we have got Confessions by Kana A. Minato. This is kind of like a mystery thriller, but not your average one, I would say. The story starts off with this teacher who decides to get revenge on some kids at her school because she believes that they have caused the death of her child. And we get to see all of the consequences that that revenge has, which is very interesting. This book is filled with interesting but kind of unlikable characters, and there are a lot of twists and turns in here, so it's really exciting. Then we've got a book that could have maybe been included in the first category because it is quite readable, but it's also a lot, and it is The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle by Stuart Turton. This follows a man who is stuck in a time loop at this mansion, and he is told that he has 8 days to try and figure out who is going to kill Evelyn Hardcastle by the end of this day. Each day he wakes up in a different person's body as well, so if this sounds complicated, It is. This is a roller coaster of a book, and it's really thrilling and exciting, but it is maybe not for everyone because it is real complicated. Next, we've got a science book, and it is Infinity in the Palm of Your Hand by Marcus Chown. I mean, this is very readable as well, but not everyone is into this kind of stuff. This takes a look at 50 wonders that reveal an extraordinary universe. So we get to read about stuff like how the whole human race could fit into the volume of a sugar cube, but that sugar cube would weigh what all of humanity does. There are loads of fun stuff in here like that, and my favorite chapter in here is about time travel and how that's not ruled out by the laws of physics, which really just messes with my brain. The last book recommendation I have for your weird friend is The Magic Toy Shop by Angela Carter. This is a classic about this young girl who goes to live with her uncle, who is a toy maker in London, and he makes toys in the basement of the house that they live in. This is a very strange but magical and wonderful story. It is a little cryptic sometimes, but really, really good. The third and last category is pretty books that are perfect as gifts. And this year I want to recommend some of these beautiful Persephone classics. So Persephone published most of their books in these beautiful gray minimalistic editions, and I just love these books. They're really good quality, they're printed on really good paper, and they're really good to hold. I know that's weird to say about a book, but if you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And I just think these are beautiful, and they've all got different and beautiful end papers. My favorite books that I have in these editions are Miss Pettigrew Lives for a Day by Winifred Watson, Miss Ranskill Comes Home by Barbara Eufen Todd, and High Wages and Young Anne, both by Dorothy Whipple. Now, they also print these slightly cheaper versions of their most popular books. I think there are 12 of these that you can choose from, and they all have these beautiful paintings on the outside if you're more into those. You can also, if you're feeling very generous, give someone a box set of 6 books that Persephone offer on their website. And these come in several different categories, like for instance an introduction to Persephone books, or feminist books, or wartime books, and stuff like that. And I think that would make an amazing gift. You can also, and this is really cool, like I really kind of want to get this for myself, you can get this book subscription, and you can choose between 6 months and 12 months, and whoever is getting it will get 1 book a month for the time period that you select. And you can either choose the books yourself, or Persephone will send this person a catalog of all their books and they can choose for themselves, which is just amazing. They also do gift wrapping if you want that, and I will of course link to everything that I've mentioned down below, like where you can find the box sets and the subscription thing. And I just love Persephone books so much. They're an independent publisher, so it's really cool to support, and they make such wonderful books. Okay guys, those were all of the books that I had to tell you about today. I hope if you were looking for a book to give to someone, you found this helpful, and I would also love to know if you know of a good book that you think is perfect as a gift and to who it's perfect for, and I'll see you soon. Bye!